Hey guys, I'm Joan.
And I'm Reilly.
And you're listening to Anyways.
This is our last episode of season 1. And we have a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm KB. I'm the RA on the ground floor here. But yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Exciting times. So, yeah.
So, if you don't know, we're called the ground floor for a reason. It's because we live on the ground floor. And so this is actually our very lovely RA, and we love her dearly. So we decided to interview her for if anyone has any questions on what's it like to be an RA or be an awesome human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, here we go.
Let's
First
go.
question. So, when did you become an RA?
I think it was the spring semester of... No, that's wrong. 2018, I think. I started, spring of 2018, then fall of 2018, and then this spring of 2019. So it's only been 3 semesters. But I believe I got the job, 2 days before school started. And they called me and they were like, we need you to move here right now because you got the job. And I was like, that's great. So I, packed up my car and left the same day and moved in. And that's when training started. And that was a long week of training. But, yeah, so 3 semesters. Started it right after Christmas. But, yeah.
That's wild.
Wow, that's
It's
crazy.
Hey, can you get here, right now?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. I was like, can I? Is that a thing?
Can I do that?
Hey,
Interesting.
look at you now.
Yeah, look at you go.
Thriving.
I know.
More or less.
Truly. So, what made you want to become an RA at Belvin?
So we don't actually get to pick where we're placed.
Okay.
I wanted the position for the free housing.
Mm-hmm.
Just being totally honest here.
Yes.
I wanted the free housing. I wanted to not have to pay for housing, and I wanted to live alone. And all those things come with being an RA. So I applied for the job, and you can, put your preferences for buildings. And I had originally put Belvin as my preference because it's a mass communication and fine arts building. And I'm a journalism major, and so I was like, okay, I'll get along with these students. I know these students. I know what they're dealing with. And freshman year, I spent a lot of time in this building. So I felt like I kind of knew, the ins and outs. But they originally stuck me in the biggest building on campus as a newbie, Piney Woods Hall, on the opposite side of campus.
Yeah.
That has 700 residents.
Oh my gosh.
And this building has 180.
Yeah.
So
There's not very many.
I
of
was
those.
really excited when they moved me here because I was like, great, I can not stress out anymore. So moving here was really good because I was able to then connect with residents in a way that I couldn't in Piney. I had a bunch of football guys and I was like,
Can't relate.
cool, great. But then here, I have residents talking about art and theater and music and dance, and it's like, oh, I get those things because that's, what I'm kind of involved in. So, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Love
crazy.
that. Love that for you.
700. Oh,
I know.
700.
That's
wow.
a scary number to think of.
I think I had 50 residents, I think. And I have 27 now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just chop the number in half. Just imagine 50 parents being like, what is my child doing?
Mm-hmm.
50, move out day. And no.
Oh, no.
Anyways, so what are some of the challenges of being an RA? This is going to be a long
We also
segment.
interviewed KB because she's graduating, so they can't hold anything against her.
So that's
true.
true. That's true. But I am still here for another week. So we'll just hope that no one hears this.
You're fine.
Honestly, it's dealing with parents is difficult because you get into college and it's an awkward transition because for a lot of students, their parents stuck up for them in high school. Their parents are the ones that got things done. And so when they get to college, it's all on them. So when they get fined for doing something stupid, parents are calling us why are you fining my child? And I'm like, your child can fight their own battles. And it just becomes a whole issue. And so dealing with parents is weird because it's hard finding the balance of okay, I get this as your kid, but they're also 20 years old, you know. I also think it's just the residents that don't really care about the rules, and I mean, some of the rules are iffy, but that's the word I'll use.
Iffy.
But some of the residents, I don't think they really understand, we don't want to fine y'all. We don't want to write y'all up, because that's a lot of paperwork. I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning once writing paperwork because someone did something stupid while I was on rounds. And so I think if residents just knew, we don't want to get y'all in trouble, so just don't do stupid stuff where we can see it, no one would get fined. But some people still do things where it's obvious that they're doing those things, and that is very frustrating.
Yeah. Well,
Taking them all out.
I know. But on the contrast to that question, what do you like the most about being an RA?
My instinct reaction is to say the free housing.
Yeah.
That's a really nice.
Totally understandable.
That is
We thought about being RAs for that.
I know.
It's a reality.
My mom's convincing me to be an RA.
It's a real thing. That's what happened to me.
together.
My mom said, take the job.
But who knows if we'll be in the same hall?
That'd be so sad. But we could like work on all the crafts together, you know?
Okay.
The door decks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Okay.
that's probably the only thing I'd love about being RA. It's like, okay, new month, I'm gonna make a new door deck.
Right.
That's actually really fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie,
Exactly.
that's like the highlight of this job is the free housing and the door decks. And I think also in Piney it was really hard to connect with residents because there were so many of them, and like I just didn't know about what they were invested in because they were like nursing majors or football players, and I was like, I don't get any of this. But like here in Belvin, like being able to connect with the residents in a way that like, I don't know, it feels more personal. Like I don't feel like I'm in charge of y'all. Like I feel like we're all in the same community. Like we're all on the same floor. The only difference is I don't have a roommate. Like I feel like that's it, you know? And so being able to connect with y'all and really understand like the struggles y'all are going through, and I think that's another reason why, like, as I got into the job and I realized what was going to take place, it's another thing that kept me going this job was knowing that, like, I'd be able to not necessarily mentor residents, but, like, be alongside them and be someone that they felt like if things weren't going right, they could come to me and talk about it, and it would remain confidential. But then also someone that could just goof off and have fun and, like, throw programs and invite all the residents in. Like, being able to, like, make this place feel like a home away from home, especially from those residents that, like, struggle with homesickness and being away from family, like, making them feel welcome here, I think that's the best part of this job, honestly.
Aww.
Yeah.
This is emotional. That's the rain.
And I'm just cold. It's fine.
So do you have any crazy stories during your time as an RA?
That you're allowed to share, you know. We're not prying too hard, but
Ask me that same question in a week, and I will have stories to tell you.
Dang it!
dang. Oh,
I have been up really late dealing with residents. I have had to deal with the cops a couple of times. Not like deal with them like they were doing wrong things, obviously, but like I've had to call them on residents before, and that has been interesting. Because then people are walking in like, haha, what are you doing with all the cops? And I'm like, haha, keep walking.
Oh.
And so that, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting.
I feel like I can't say any more than that. Like,
We respect
Just
that.
code names.
Just, oh man. Could you imagine, like, if we just, like, came home one day, we just saw KB, like, talking to cops, we'd be like, oh. Not us.
Not the candles.
not
not those candles.
Those candles. Michelle still hasn't found them.
I still think it's funny that y'all gifted me candles at the beginning of the semester. I was like, what am I supposed to do with these? Like, I will get fired.
Yeah, I gave her a candle.
It's a little green candle. I still have it.
You're
It
right.
doesn't matter where I have
was
it,
in
but
the
I still have it.
basket.
It's in the basket, yeah. Because I smelt it and I was like,
It smells really good. Like, I plan on the minute I leave here. Like, I'm lighting that thing. I'm so excited.
in the car. It's
Like, driving back home, I'm just like, all right.
yes, it's
I'm
candles.
dead. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, so moving on. So we're moving on from like the RA questions to just like KB questions. So,
That's fine.
you know, you're a senior.
Yes.
And so what are your plans for after graduation? And how are you looking forward to graduation? It's coming up pretty soon, a couple days.
Well, I'm actually not graduating in May.
Oh, okay.
So I'm graduating in December because I have like 3 classes left.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And so technically I could like walk the stage and then like finish school, but I'd rather like walk the stage once I like never have to come back here again.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm waiting until December to actually like graduate. But I am looking forward to that because then I will be done with being here. Not that it's like I love this school, I really do, and I love the people here, but you know, after 4.5 years of being here, you get tired of it real fast.
Oh, yeah,
Ready to bounce.
But as far as like my plans after graduation, I honestly have no idea. And like that, every time I visit with my family, they're like, "So what are you gonna do once you graduate?" And I'm like, don't know, Grandma, stop asking, you know, and so I have no idea what to, I know, like, long-term what I'd like to do way in the future, but, like, as far as, like, once I graduate starting, like, January of next year, no idea what I'm gonna do with my life. I'm just hoping that certain doors open and I get a job and don't end up living in a box.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm hoping for.
We walk in faith in this house.
Heck yeah.
Yes. A lot of that right now.
Yes, a lot of that. But we do know that summer plans means wedding. Ooh. So, when's the wedding?
It is July 28th. Too far away.
Oh,
We are less than
What's
3
your
months.
countdown? You know what day you're on?
787, I think.
Getting close.
I
I
think.
remember when it was triple digits.
I know.
I remember when it hit, like, 99, I, like, screamed. Like, I'm glad it was a Saturday because, like, no one was here, but I literally, like, yelled in my room. And then I went outside and, like, I have this little letter board that y'all see me post about all the time. And I, like, had it set down in the grass. And, like, Austin was with me, my fiance, and I was like, okay, go pick this many yellow flowers, this many purple flowers, and this many white flowers. And he's like, what? I said, just do it! And so we're, like, running around picking weeds, and I'm, like, on duty. So, like, I have the duty phone on me, and I'm, like, running around trying to get all these flowers that I don't get caught being outside because you're supposed to stay in the building when you're on duty.
Ooh.
And I, like, have it set in this, like, little, like, three-leaf clover field, and, like, I'm putting flowers around the corners, and I'm like, this has to be, like, this is double digits. This is such a big deal.
Yes.
And Austin was like, are you serious? We're out there for, like, 30 minutes, and I'm like, I have, like, 18 pictures of this on my phone because I was like, I had to get it perfect. But, yeah, so it's July 28th. Seems way too far away. Like, at first, everything was moving really fast. Like, we got engaged in December, and then, like, January, February, like, March flew by, and then April hit, and I was like, it's taken way too long. I'm tired of waiting. Like, we have all the wedding decorations. We have the venue. I have the dress. I'm like, let's just get married right now. What is the point of waiting until July? But unfortunately, we have to, so. Yeah.
So what does the venue look like?
So it's actually, Austin and I are not very traditional, and I can't really talk about my dress because I know for a fact he's going to go back and listen to this, but my dress isn't very traditional. There are a lot of things, like our wedding cake is not a wedding cake, it is a cookie cake that is stacked on top of more cookie cake.
That sounds like me.
We're not serving a meal, we're serving donuts, and so, like, there's nothing traditional about this wedding, and so we wanted a venue that kind of, like, captured that vibe as well. We didn't want something super traditional, and so there's this old train station, actually, that we went and looked at, and it's got, like, marble floors and, like, really tall pillars, and on Sunday, which is the day we're getting married, they're not running trains, so it's just this big, empty, like, train station, and so it's really beautiful. Like, the walls are this, like, soft green, and then you've got, like, the white marble floors, and then outside are, like, train tracks and, like, old trains that they don't use anymore, so it's a very, like, rustic, non-traditional feel, which is kind of what we were going for. But it is really pretty, and they're building this, like, ginormous fountain. I kind of feel like it's for me, even though it's not. But, like, they started construction on this, like, giant fountain out in the courtyard, and it's supposed to be ready, like, right before the wedding starts. And I sort of feel like it's for me. I'm like, yeah, this is for my wedding. Thank you for building. Can you move it a little bit closer to the right? Like, I literally feel like I own the place, even though I don't know any of these people. So it's gonna be really beautiful, and I am so excited.
That's so exciting. And they'll be able to take pictures over there.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I, like, texted my photographer. I said, here's where we're doing it, out on this courtyard by the fountains. Like, I made sure that was known.
I love that.
Oh my gosh. So awesome. I'm so excited.
I love weddings. Okay, so backtracking a little bit. So, can we get the story of the proposal? Like, how did this all go down? Yes. When was it? Where was it?
Yeah, so Austin and I kind of knew that we were going to get married, like, before we even started dating. We had met May of last year, and we were working at the same camp, and so we weren't allowed to date, and we sort of had feelings for each other, but him and I had both, like, had some really dumb relationships in the past, you know, who doesn't, and we had decided, like, the next person we date, like, they're our spouse. Like, if they're not serious about wanting to get married, then we're not even gonna, you know, date them. And so when we met, we were just friends, and we were talking about that, and I was like, oh, he wants to marry his next girlfriend. Well, I want to marry my next boyfriend. How convenient. And, like, the more we talked, the more we realized we had in common, and, like, we both love to live in Tennessee someday. Like, we both have, like, an obsession with Disney, and it was just all these little bitty things that I was like, this is a little too convenient for just a friendship. And so, you know, we talked about it, and we were like, okay, if we date, like, we're getting married. Like, there's no breaking up. That's not happening. And so when we finally started dating, like, I knew that it was coming. I just didn't know when. And I knew that he had gotten my parents' blessing, which was, like, a huge deal because we had been stressing a lot about, you know, perfect timing. And I'm learning now that there's no such thing as perfect timing. Like, if you want to do something, do it. And so we were waiting for, like, the perfect timing, and, you know, we were praying about it and seeking, like, wisdom and counsel, and everyone was like, just get married. Like, it's not that hard. And I was like, but it is that hard. You know, I'm still in college. He lives far away. You know, I don't know if we can do it yet. But when he got my parents' blessing, he actually, the minute they told him yes, he went and bought the ring, and he had apparently been, like, working on it and, like, making it. Like, he had designed it for, like, months. Yeah.
So it's custom.
Yeah, it is. I know, right? And so we, like, I knew that he had their blessing, and I knew, okay, like, it's probably gonna happen within the next month or two. and we were going to Passion, which is a really big Christian conference in all over the place, but it was in Dallas this year, and we were going in January, and like we had joked all the time throughout the summer of like, oh, when we go we're gonna be engaged, and so I was like, okay, I know it's gonna happen before then. And so like December hit, and I was like, it hasn't happened yet, what's going on? And he would do these things where we'd be out and about, and he would like get all nervous, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, he's gonna do it. And he'd like get down on one knee, and I'd like start panicking, and then he'd tie a shoe. And like he did this all the time.
I'd be so upset.
Oh, he did it all the time, and it finally got to the point where I was annoyed with it. I was like, I'm not falling for it. And so like we would always slow dance, and he always did this thing where like he'd spin me around, and then when I'd turn around, he'd be down on one knee, and I was like, he's gonna do it, and then he'd like freaking tie a shoe or something again, and it was so frustrating. And so the night that he actually proposed, I thought he was messing with me. Like I thought he was joking until he like opened the box, and I was like, oh, there's a ring in there. And it was like a week before January, and we were about to leave for this trip, and I was like, I know he's gonna propose before then. And him and his sister had come to stay New Year's with my family, and like I knew it was coming up because I was like, my whole family's gonna be there, his family's gonna be there, like this is a perfect time to propose. And so like every day I woke up, I would like curl my hair, do my makeup, pick a really cute outfit, and like finally my mom was like, Kinsey, you need to calm down, like it's not happening for a really long time, like I know you think it's happening this week, but it's not. And I was like, okay, and I believed her because moms don't lie. And so I believed her and was like, okay, cool. So
dang it.
So the night that he proposed, we were following along this like Bible study that the head pastor of the Passion Conference had sent out to like lead us up to the conference starting. And we'd all gone, it was me, him, and then my sister and his sister, and we'd all gone to Starbucks, and we were like doing the Bible study together. And what's so funny is like this was the night he was planning to propose, and like because my mom had told me that, I legit was like, okay, he's not proposing like for another couple weeks, maybe he's waiting until after Passion, you know. And so like he had written in his prayer journal that night during our Bible study, like, I'm proposing to Kinsey tonight, like let everything go well. And I didn't even see it, and he was sitting like right next to me, and I'm nosy, I should have been reading it, you know, but I didn't. And we like
the Lord didn't want it.
Right?
I know.
And we had like dinner reservations with my parents. We were gonna go on this little double date with them. And it was like at 7:45, and it's like 7:15, and my mom texts me, and she's like, y'all need to leave Starbucks, like we've got to go to these dinner reservations. And I was like, okay, chill. And so I'm like taking my precious time, like getting a refill on my coffee, and like my sister and like his sister were like, Kinsey, we want to go home. And I was like, why is everybody rushing me? And I was getting so frustrated with everybody. And so we get in the car, and I'm like taking the scenic route, and they're like, Kinsey, just take us home. And I was like, no, we've got time, reservations aren't till 7:45, it's like 7:30. And Harrington, my sister, she was like, Kinsey, you need to get home, like I have to go to the bathroom, I need you to get us home right now. And so I was like, okay. So then I like sped home. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever, I'm so frustrated with everybody. And we get home, and like I don't know how I didn't see this coming. Like, my mom was like, hey, can you take the dogs out to the backyard real quick, and then we'll go to dinner. And I was like, okay. And, like, Austin ran upstairs as soon as we got home. I didn't think anything of it. And he comes down, and, like, he wears really tight pants. Like, he wears skinny jeans, and there's no way that box could have fit in his jeans. So he comes down with, like, this really big jacket with big pockets, and I was like, it's not even that cold outside. What's he doing? And so he was like, can I go outside with you? And I was like, sure, okay. And so we walk outside, and, like, our backyard, like, has these Christmas lights hung up, but they have never been turned on, like, ever. And all of a sudden, they were all turned on, and, like, they were, like, decorated all over the fence, and, like, it was super pretty, and I was like, wow, my mom decorated the backyard, how cool! And then I, like, kept walking, like, past the little courtyard area. So, like, when you walk out in our backyard, there's, like, this rocky floor area with, like, this black gate around it, and then, like, you have to open the gate to actually go out to, like, where the grass and stuff is. And so we had, like, so, like, I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Okay, and then I kept walking, and Austin was like, okay, and then he, like, followed me, and he was being really weird, and I was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, why is everyone being weird tonight? And so I remember I was trying to make him laugh by singing this really stupid song. I remember the song now. But I was, like, trying to make him laugh, and he, like, was just dead staring at me, and I was like, okay, so now you're not laughing at me? Carrington's mad at me because I got us home late, and I was like, everything sucks, and he was like, let's go back and stand over here by the lights. And is that my phone that keeps going off? I don't know. But so
we're so into the story now.
and so we, like, go outside, and he's like, let's go back and stand by the lights. And I was like, why? And he was like, because I want to. And I was like, okay. And so he drags me over, and I was like, what is going on? And so we, like, start dancing, and I was like, okay, he's gonna fake propose to me again with all the fancy stupid lights, I get it. And so we're, like, slow dancing, and he spins me around, and he, like, gets down on one knee, and I turn around, and I literally go, okay, Austin. And I, like, turned around to walk away, and he's like, Kinsey, and I went, what? And he, like, reaches in his pocket, and I was like, Austin. And he, like, pulls out a box, and I went, Austin? It was like, wait a second. Like, it got different every time, and I was like, Austin? And he, like, opens the box, and I went, Austin! And I just, like, lost it. And, like, he, like, completely froze. He had apparently planned this whole speech and, like, didn't end up giving it at all. And he just goes, and I was like, I need you to ask, babe. And he's like, well, will you marry me? And I was like, yes! And so, like, and then I said yes, like, 80 more times. And then I, like, look, and, like, my whole family's, like, standing at the windows like this with, like, their eyes peeking through. And I was like, oh my gosh, then we're crying. And we go in. And what's the best thing I think about all of this is, like, his sister was trying to record it all on her phone. And I went back and watched the video, and I'm never posting this video. My dad had no idea it was happening, like, right then and there. And so, like, so she's sitting by the window right as we start slow dancing. And my dad, like, turns up the TV really loud. He's, like, watching basketball or something. And I can hear my mom in the background going, like, Kit. And he goes, oh, I didn't know it was happening now. And so, like, by this point, Austin's down on his knee, like, I'm crying, and my dad's in the background, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know this was happening now, and like, and it just, like, from their perspective, it was the most, like, informal thing ever. Like, it was so romantic from our perspective, and so we came in, and, we took all the pictures, then we were late to our reservations, and it was a really fun time, but it was definitely interesting leading up to it, and it was not how I expected it, but it was still, like, perfect, and it's a story that I will honestly tell forever now.
That's going to be great to tell, like, down the line, once your 20th, 50th anniversary.
I know, our kids are like, how do you propose? I'm like, well, want to see the video? And it's going to be, like, their granddad in the background. I'm like, oh, I didn't know! Like, turns down the TV, and oh my goodness.
That is so funny. I love that. That was very entertaining.
That was perfect.
So, we talked about the proposal, talked a little bit about the wedding. So, what are the plans for the honeymoon, if any?
San Antonio?
Well, so that was originally our plan. And then we figured out that we could go to Vegas for, like, $100 more. And I was like, Vegas, duh. And so we had, like, planned to go to Vegas. We had our hotel picked and everything. And then I realized that, like, if we used all of our savings on a honeymoon, we couldn't afford an apartment. And we would have nowhere to go once we moved back. And so we were like, reevaluate. And so instead, we're just going to go to Galveston for a couple nights and just stay there and, like, stay on the beach and just kind of relax. I mean, I better not. Like, so
This is a family show.
Family show.
I didn't think I had to send Juicy
we're just
up.
gonna hang out,
Pre-warning.
on the beach and just kind of have a good time. And then we're gonna come back early and start, like, setting up our apartment and stuff before, like, work and stuff kicks out. So it's mainly just, like, everyone that I've talked to has been like, yeah, we planned this big extravagant honeymoon, and when we got there, we, like, didn't want to do anything. Like, we just wanted to sleep and do nothing. And I was like, that makes sense. You know, you're building up to this wedding for months and months and months, and then it's over, and you're like, oh, I can finally breathe, you know? And so I think that's kind of what our plan is, just going to the beach, relaxing for a couple nights, and then coming back here, and instead of taking, like, a week-long honeymoon, only take, like, 3 or 4 days, that we have then 3 or 4 days to, like, set up our apartment, get used to living in it, and get used to living together, because that's going to be weird. I'm a very, like, independent, I don't like having roommates type person, and so having a roommate now for the rest of my life is going to take a lot of getting used to. So yeah, that's kind of just our plan for the honeymoon, just being real chill the whole time.
Yeah. I love that.
Nice.
Plus, then you can always save up and have like a nice 1 year.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, and we're planning on in December. We're going back to Passion, but they're hosting it in Atlanta, Georgia this year in the new, like, Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it's like they're doing it starting on December 31st going into January 1st. So, like, we're ringing in the new year with, like, some of the biggest, like, worship bands, biggest, like, pastors. It's going to be super awesome, and so we figured we'd rather save our money and, like, drive all the way to Georgia, go to this big event, instead of, like, using it all now and then not being able to go. So that's kind of be, like, half our honeymoon is going to Georgia, and then the other half is going to Galveston after the honeymoon, after the wedding. Whoa. Not that many trips. I'm not that, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Okay, and then what are you most looking forward to when you get married?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult question. Because I'm, like, really nervous. Like, if I'm being honest, like, I'm very excited, but I'm also really nervous because I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And, I have no idea what to expect. But I'm excited, I think, just because, like, since we've been doing long distance, it's really difficult to communicate often with each other, and I know that like communication is key in relationships, and so like texting is a terrible form of communication with someone that like you're planning a life with, because things get misread, you know, like people you misunderstand what someone's saying through a text, and so being able to communicate with him every single day in person, I think is going to be really, really nice, and just like being able to come home from a stressful work day instead of going back to my dorm and being like, well, this sucks. I'm all alone. Like, I'll get to come home from a really stressful day and be like, oh, my husband's here. Okay, let's cook brownies and let's talk about my crappy day and then let's watch Netflix and fall asleep. Like, that's what I'm excited for, is having that, like, friendship, that companionship. I think that's the word. Companionship? Yes. Yeah, that's the word. Having that companionship, you know, from here on out. Not having to do long-distance dating anymore. And I'm really excited about that. So.
Yeah. Yay. Okay.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
So now... we're doing our fun questions.
Yes.
We ask these questions for every guest that we have on our show. So, starting off, cake or pie? Joan is very adamant about this question.
That depends, because I hate cake, but I love cookie cake. But I hate pie, because I hate fruit. But, like, pecan pie is really good. So, cookie cake over pecan pie, if that's what we're asking.
Okay,
so another cookie person.
So KB's a woman after my own heart. Is what I'm
Basically,
hearing.
yes.
Yes, I'm a cookie girl as well.
Oh, you're gonna love our wedding cake.
I know. That's
So
when I heard those, like,
It's gonna be magical.
I always dreamed up, like, my future wedding, because I love red velvet cake, but I was dreaming, like, red velvet cake and then, like, a cookie moat around it.
Yes.
That's what I see.
Yes.
And then, like, a dessert bar. I have such a sweet tooth.
I like the cakes where it's like already like cut, like pretty little slices of cake. So they're not like cupcakes, but they're like little squares. Like, and then the top part is like a little cake that we can still cut together, that thing. But I also like the idea of having a build your own ice cream sundae bar. For the exact reason of what I talked about last week, watching my father build his own kid's ice cream sundae in a plastic Mickey Mouse plate. Like, building your own sundae is probably the best dessert you could ever have.
That would be so fun.
Like, on it, right?
I'm about to steal that idea and be like, hey, Mom, we need to go buy.
No. That's Joan's wedding, okay?
Ooh,
I got
right.
a while.
Anyways. Next one. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Do you have a favorite Marvel movie or character?
This is going to sound very stereotypical. Because I am a 22-year-old female, but Captain America, all the way.
Me too.
And, like, I don't want to talk any further on that because I haven't caught up yet to the most recent movie, and I've heard terrible theories involving my character, and so I don't want to think about that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say.
I love him, and that's all that matters.
Okay. Yeah, you'll enjoy Endgame.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You look nervous saying that. He's like, you'll enjoy it.
I'm just trying to give you...
We're gonna give you, as the Captain America fan, give you honest opinion. You'll enjoy Endgame.
Yeah.
Alright. That's all we're gonna say so we don't spoil it for you. Next.
I'm so scared. So scared.
I'm giving KB sketchy eye contact.
Honestly.
Just to make her nervous.
Ooh, KB, what is your favorite
laptop?
song? It is your laptop.
Is it really, though?
Yeah.
It never makes that sound.
You're getting emails.
That's not me. I don't think it's me. Boop.
Anyway.
Okay.
Is it still picking up our voices?
Yeah.
What's your
moving
favorite
on.
My favorite song? Oh, I guess it's not your laptop.
Yeah. It was Joan this whole time.
I hate Group Me. I was like,
what
I've never heard that noise, and I was like, Group
I
Me.
unfortunately know that sound way too much. That's
yeah.
all RAs use is Group Me. It's
It's interesting.
Favorite song? Gosh, I don't know. I listen to a lot of music, so like to pick one song, right now it's probably Hallelujah Here Below from Elevation Worship, but that's probably going to change in like a week because I literally have a favorite song every week. So
I feel that.
yeah.
The one I'm currently listening to a lot, because we all know my favorite song by now. We talk about it every time we interview people. So I'm going to go with my favorite song this week. I think it's going to have to be Here's the One. What is it? Here's the One for the Losers.
Oh, okay.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I think.
This is for the kids who's left behind.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I'll get you a real name.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
While Joan is looking that up, my favorite, well, I guess my song for the week, literally, I was going to sleep. And you know how when you're going to sleep and you're still on your phone, you're like on Instagram, whatever. So I came across this like edit, and the song that they were using was like It was like a lo-fi kind of remix of Oceans.
Ooh.
And it's
Okay.
so good. It's called Savior by Beowulf. And it's just like a sample of Oceans, but they just like make it like, it's just got a new
That's
kind of like
awesome.
moody kind of sound to it. But I just love the way it like takes a song and makes it, I don't know, it makes it more emotional, I guess.
So songs like that I call them like altar call songs, and like I wouldn't sing these, but like I would definitely cry at the altar
Yes.
to these. Like,
I
that's
will
what I
send
feel like
I will
that
send
is.
it to you because
Okay,
it
do it,
sounds.
please.
I just was in love with it. Like I was in love, and I was just like, I need to share this with people immediately. So yeah,
Nice.
it's been great. Did you find the song?
Yes, it's called Thank You by MKTO.
Oh,
I think I know that
are
one.
the ones,
Mhm.
the ones who's left behind.
Yes,
I don't know why, but I've listened to it like 20 times this week.
yes.
I've listened to that 20 times, and then the other one that I listened to, for some reason, Amazon keeps playing it, is Our Song by Taylor Swift. Which every time I hear it, I just picture my friend Coleman, who put it on my phone, singing it in the front seat of my car, just like hardcore. He knows all the lyrics
That's
to
a good
it.
song.
It is hilarious,
A classic.
but yeah.
So her new song's a good song too. I'm not gonna lie.
The one with Brendan
Me?
Urie?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I listened to it.
Like the bridge.
You have to
the
watch
bridge is bad.
You have to watch the video. You have to watch the music video when you hear the song, because it's like,
It's all over the place.
Ooh.
All over the place. I think it's creative.
I
I
don't know how
think
to
it's cute.
describe it.
But it's definitely all over the place. And then you get to the bridge and you're like, I didn't know we were in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And like anybody that's heard that song, like they know.
These sharp little nose
It is-
inhales are
honestly-
hilarious. They're just
honestly.
like, your face is just straight.
Yes, Kinley and I listened to it together, and we were both just like, what is this?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
it's real bad.
I'm
You'll know
scared
exactly
now.
what I thought as I was watching it, because I was like, oh,
I said,
interesting.
Guess
Yeah.
you know what I'll be doing after this.
it is a weird song, but it's good. It's
Brendan
catchy.
Urie's cute.
Yeah,
Yes!
I love him.
Oh, and he's so cute in the music video.
He
Like
is.
he like
I
adds
saw
his
the
own
little
little
clip-
character in
Yeah.
it, which is so precious, I think. Like, you know, he has that, I can't do the dance, I'm not him, but like that cute little dance he does with his hands and like
Yeah.
his feet, like he does that in the music video and I'm like, this is so
Yeah, I saw the little clip of
him.
them dancing. I just haven't
Yeah.
seen like the full thing.
It's such a cute music video, but
Okay.
it's definitely weird too. So
Okay.
You have to watch it.
cute and weird.
Don't listen to the song till you watch the video.
Okay. Looks like that's what I'll be doing after this. Next one. What are your favorite movies or books? Or both?
Or book to movie adaptations.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say I
Lots
like
of
a lot of
options.
books, but I don't like their movie adaptations. That's the
Mhm.
problem.
I feel that.
My favorite movie of all time is Napoleon Dynamite. Like, if I could
Okay.
only watch one movie for the rest of my life, that's
Mhm.
it.
With that all the time. I
It's
quote
just,
it
it's
so
so
much.
good. And then my favorite books, this is gonna sound real awful too. The Twilight books, honestly.
Okay.
I read those all throughout middle school. I read them like one more time in high school, and then I started them like last year and just didn't have time to finish them. But I was like, I know how these end.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pretty on fire for Twilight for a while.
Mm.
It was bad.
Who did you ship?
Me and Edward. That's
Yeah.
who I shipped.
Yes. Did you ever get like the jewelry from like Claire's?
Oh, absolutely. I had like one of those tank tops that says "I love boys who sparkle" or like something like that.
Yes.
And like I had the little charm bracelets had like all their faces. Like it was bad. It was,
Mhm.
I had like the book that was like behind the scenes things, and like I remember freaking out because they filmed one of my favorite scenes on my birthday, and I was like,
Oh my
oh
goodness.
my gosh! And it's like the scene where they're like dancing out like right when in the first movie when like you think he's gonna bite her and then he doesn't, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah. They filmed that on my birthday.
Oh
I
my
was pretty pumped
gosh.
about that.
That's a nice little fun fact.
I
Love
know.
that. Ooh, okay. So next one is, what is your favorite childhood or college memory?
You got any? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Like, it's just all been bad.
I said everything sucks. No, my childhood was really good, but like narrowing it down to like one memory. Oh, jeez. I don't know. Okay, I had a lot of invisible friends, so I guess like clumping. Yeah, I did. I did. I had, yeah, y'all, this was like, okay, so in like middle school, like coming in elementary
Stop,
school, like
Joan.
going into
Stop.
like, I I didn't have real friends, and so I had to compensate for what I was missing out on.
That's ironic because you said you like to be alone.
I know. Right? Well, I think maybe that's why I like to be alone. So I was like, well, it's what I'm used to. But I have a book back home, and this is embarrassing, but it's like, because Uncultured Swine could not see what my invisible friends look like, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I drew them all out, and I have a book back home, like, in my old bedroom of, like, all my
invisible... You still have it?
Yes, I have my invisible boyfriend looks ironically just like my fiancé.
What?
I'm not kidding. Like, it's pretty...
It was meant to be.
It's pretty humiliating. But, so, like, being able to, I guess...
Joan is cracking up. Have you shown Austin?
Yeah.
What did he say?
I did after we got engaged, so then it was, like, too late.
Yeah,
too late.
It's like, you're signed up, buddy.
I said, this was Kyle. He was my invisible boyfriend. You look just like him. Anyway, great. So, no, but I think just, like, overall, having an active imagination enough to be able to, like, not feel lonely, I think that was probably my favorite childhood memory. I don't know. That may have just ruined my whole life. Now
I think it just Joan.
I just gave her more stuff for the wedding speech. That's what I've done. She's gonna be like, do we have any of Kinsey's invisible friends in the crowd tonight? Yeah, Kyle. What's up, Kyle? Yeah, no kidding.
That sounds just like what you would say. I'm there. Oh.
Write that down.
That sounds exactly like something you would say too.
Oh my gosh.
What is going on here?
My side hurts. I'm crying.
Joan, pull together. We have like 10 more minutes.
I'm like so glad I could like make her day telling you about that. Oh jeez. Oh, favorite college memory though? I like want to be real cliche and be like, oh, the friendships.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Us.
I'm not gonna do that. Well, yeah.
Boom.
I actually have enjoyed like meeting y'all and becoming friends with y'all. Enough to invite y'all to my weddings. That's a pretty intense deal because we cut off a lot of people from my list. We cut off quite a few people from my list. But honestly, like this, yeah, as cliche as it sounds, the friendships. Like being able to like be a part of like college ministries and like having the same kind of group of people that like you worship with, you go to church with, but they're also the people that like you goof off with on the weekends and like just being able to like looking back when I'm telling my kids and they're like, oh, what was college like? That's what I'm going to talk about and be like, oh man, I had these friends and like we got to go to church together, we got to worship the Lord together, but we also like would all decide at 2 o'clock in the morning that we wanted to go to Buc-ee's, so we'd all pile like 7 of us into one tiny car and drive all the way to Buc-ee's at 1 o'clock in the morning and just like all these tiny little memories that go with like friend groups. It's actually really fun. I do it often still sometimes.
Can we not do 1 a.m.? Can we do like 7?
7?
As the
Is that
person who
reasonable?
has to drive.
Not today, because the weather is not permitting.
Bad.
My mom literally sent me a text message as we were talking about being safe and not...
Yeah, Buc-ee's isn't worth that.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's probably not a good idea. But yeah, so the friendships, all of that. Okay, that's great. The lifelong friends.
Yeah. All 3 of them.
Yeah. Me, you, Savannah.
Done.
There you go.
And getting engaged, because now I know that Austin's gonna listen to this. He's gonna be pretty sad if I didn't mention. That's my favorite college memory is getting engaged to Austin.
Right.
There you go.
And
I love you, babe.
Aw.
Yes, and y'all. It's kind of tied, honestly. You know, like meeting y'all, getting engaged. You know, it's just. But
That's great.
It's
We approve of y'all.
I hope so.
You have
We've
our
got less than 3
blessing.
months before we get married.
Your
Like,
blessing, Austin.
He just at the wedding, just like, does anyone oppose to this marriage? And just the whole
We
row
do.
stands.
3 little hands. Hey. No, 4. Us 3 and Kyle.
There it is. She was
poor
waiting.
Kyle.
Oof.
Oh,
Okay.
It was just the way you said it.
Oh no.
we dated for like 4 years. I'm not playing.
Dang, you're committed.
It didn't work out though, because I like hit the age of like too old and realized this is dumb and got out of that real fast.
Was he one of your boyfriends on a list where it's like, after this, I'm gonna get engaged?
Yes,
On
that
the bad
relationship went on
relationship
way
list.
too long. All the way from like 3rd grade to like 6th grade, too much, you know. But
Mood.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can't wait to go back and watch this video just to see what it's like.
It's too much going on.
Oh,
It's a
Kyle.
lot of chaotic energy.
Kyle, if you're listening to this, we love you.
I want to meet you, honestly. That's like, Do you know how many horror movies start out with, like, kids like, yeah, this is my imaginary friend?
The parents don't believe them, and then the imaginary friend ends up being the murderer.
Yes, exactly. Like, that kind of stuff. She's like, I got a journal.
Kyle's gonna come back and kill us.
Oh, no.
You have a journal?
We still
I
have
see
witnesses.
Yeah, we know who killed you, Kyle.
Oh, no. Okay. Anyways. Moving on. Do you have a favorite place to visit?
Yeah, actually. So there's an old barn at my grandparents' farm that, like, growing up, like, that's where I spent a lot of my time. Like, I loved being there because it was just, like, they didn't use it for animals anymore because my grandparents don't actually live at the farm. They just go every once in a while and tend to it. So it's just this old barn. Like, some of the, like, pieces in the roof are missing. It's, like, over 100 years old, and it's just, like, there's nothing in there, and there's just this tiny little light. And so, like, at night going in there and, like, being able to turn that light and, like, lay on, like, one of the hay bales and just, like, look up at the stars through, like, the slits in the ceiling. Like, that was honestly such a highlight of, like, being able to go to the farm. Like, that was what I always looked forward to. And then when, like, siblings and cousins were introduced, we'd put on, like, little plays and musicals out there, and, like, we had this thing called KB Church Camp, where basically I made them all sit for, like, 2 hours while I preached at them with my limited knowledge of the Bible, and it was just really fun. And, like, even as an adult going back there, like, me and, like, most of my cousins are all adults or, like, about to graduate high school, and so, like, being able to go there, like, as adults and be like, oh, like, I remember all these memories, like, we still enjoy going there. In fact, that's where Austin originally was gonna propose because of how much that place means to me. Aww. But, you know, you get excited, and you're like, let's just do it now, and that's what happened. But yeah, the old barn, it's about to collapse, so I'll be really devastated when that day finally comes, but that's definitely my favorite place, my grandparents' farm.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We had some of the most heartfelt responses.
I know. This is a great last episode.
Wow.
And then our very last thing, do you have something, a statement of sorts that you want to leave with our listeners?
Or with us.
Or with y'all. As my residents. Not as y'all's RA, as y'all's friend. Oh, geez. I think this is just a lesson that I've been learning time and time again, and especially now as everything's changing and I'm leaving college, I'm leaving my family, I'm getting married, like, I'm stepping into a lot of unknowns. I think often when we get to positions in life where, like, we don't get the job we want, or we don't get the apartment we want, or we're losing friends, or we're confused about decisions to make, I feel like it's very easy to start thinking that we're going unnoticed by God. Like, he doesn't see us, he doesn't see our struggle, because we get into that mindset of, if he did see this, why hasn't he done anything about it? And, like, completely honest, I have been in that boat for the past couple of weeks, as Austin and I have, been searching for jobs in this area so that I can finish school, and the fear creeps in of, like, well, if we haven't found a job by now, what if this is the Lord telling us, we're not supposed to get married, and then you get afraid, and then you don't want to keep looking, but then you're like, I have to, because, we're getting married in less than 3 months, and there's just a lot of fear, and fear is not, something that the Lord gives, that's something that the enemy instills, and, I was reading just the other night the story of the woman who had been really sick for years and years and years, and she, like, reached out and grabbed Jesus' cloak and was instantly healed, and Jesus starts looking around for her, like, okay, I know someone touched me, I know someone grabbed me, like, I know power just went out from me, and even Peter's like, no, it's nobody, just keep walking, because they're, like, in a crowd of hundreds of people, and Jesus was like, no, I know that someone intentionally reached out to me. And the next verse says that when the woman realized she could not go unnoticed by Jesus, she stood up and, like, fell at his feet and began worshiping him. And, like, I think that hit me really hard, because it was like, I sometimes feel like I'm in a crowd of thousands and Jesus is just walking right past me, and I'm like, I need these things, I need this provision, like, these things that you promised me I'm not seeing come to pass, and, like, if I could just reach out and grab his cloak, like, everything would get better. And I feel like that's kind of where I am right now, is like the Bible says, we cannot go unnoticed, even in that crowd of hundreds. Even when Peter was telling Jesus, like, oh, it's nobody, keep walking, like, Jesus was like, no, I know that someone needed me, and I know that someone, like, reached out for me. And I think that if I could say anything, it's that whether you believe in God or not, like, he loves you, and he does see you, and it is impossible for you to go unnoticed by him. And so, yeah, I guess that's my, like, little spiel.
Wow. That's a slow clap for KB. We appreciate that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Ended on a good note.
Ended on a beautiful note.
Are you ready
honestly.
to close us out?
For the last time for season 1?
Yeah.
So we'd like to thank you all for listening to season 1, and like to remind you season 2 will be coming out fall of next year, so be on the lookout. Fall of this year. So be on the lookout. We are also working on being able to upload all of these Anyways episodes that you watch here on YouTube to Apple Music. So be on the look on our Twitter and Instagram, and we'll let you know when that happens, hopefully.
Yes.
If Joan can finesse the system.
Yes, and we'll try to keep the socials popping over the summer.
And who knows, we might post a few bonus videos. Reilly and I have some things we've got to do this summer, so...
You're right. Just be ready.
Just be ready,
Turn on
man.
those post notifications.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Yes, so if you like this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. We'll have surprise content coming out over the summer, and you'll know when season 2 starts.
Yeah.
And you'll also know if you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at GroundFloorCo14.
Yes.
All right.
Signing off for
Signing
the last one.
For season 1, I'm Joan.
And I'm Reilly.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.